Hi guys, thanks for joining me here on the Baseline. So have you guys felt it? Have you the quiet exhaustion when you flip through the news and realize no one in Washington actually believes in any kind of justice anymore? It's all branding wars and some type of campaign theater. You have presidents that go on TV and call someone a martyr. We have late night comedians turn tragedy into punchlines. And then we have governors that leap into the fray and try to score culture war points. And you wonder, in all this noise, does anyone even remember what fairness sounds like? And then in Provo, a Provo courtroom of all places, right? A rookie judge says the words every American should hear from any politician or any government office, right? Less than 2 months on the bench, 4th District Judge Tony Graf stepped into the biggest trial of his life. Now we have Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old, and he's accused of fatally shooting conservative activist Charlie Kirk. And allegedly, he's did this in front of thousands at the Utah Valley University. So this isn't just a case; it's a national firestorm and a potential death penalty case. Right? We have a divided country, a president, Donald Trump, calling Charlie Kirk a Christian martyr. And then we have a governor urging execution. And then we have comedians like Jimmy Kimmel suspended from late night, mocking the chaos like it's just another ratings bump. And that's the backdrop that we're all watching right now. It's a circus. It's a big circus. And then we have Judge Graf.
Necessary. But today I do wish to provide guidance and expectations that you can have for this court and wish to enter an order as well. As this case moves forward, Mr. Robinson's constitutional rights will be protected at every stage. He sits before this court presumed innocent, and that presumption remains unless and until each element of every offense charged against him is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. At the same time, and as applicable, victims are entitled under our Constitution to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity, free from harassment or abuse. Justice demands that both of these principles, the rights of the accused and the rights of victims, be honored without compromise. I remain steadfast in my oath that I made 56 days ago to support and defend the constitutions of the United States and of Utah. I will carry out my duties with fidelity, transparency, and impartiality, treating every person who appears before me with the dignity and respect they are inherently due because they are human beings. Let me be clear. I will not put my finger on the scale of justice.
And he looks out from the bench and says, hey, Mr. Robinson's constitutional rights will be protected at every stage. He sits before the court, presumed innocent, and that presumption remains unless and until each element of every offense charged against him is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Now think about how radical that sounds in the year 2025 in America. In a year when politicians talk about executions before trials even begin. A brand new judge, and he's basically saying, no, we're not going to play that game. We're doing the law. And that line, presumed innocent, that's supposed to be boilerplate in our judicial system. But today, that's considered a type of rebellion. But what the judge did, that was leadership. That's what the White House or any government should sound like, right? Because what politicians do when tragedy strikes, it seems like they weaponize it, right? They hold rallies, fundraisers, press conferences. They even sell t-shirts sometimes. They sharpen up their sound bites, and the truth gets buried underneath headlines about martyrs and traitors. But in that Provo courtroom, for one rare moment, you heard something that Washington can't fake, and that's impartiality. Now, don't get me wrong, because this is a brutal case. Charlie Kirk's killing on September 10th sets off shockwaves all across the country. I think that we all feel very deep down, right? Thousands of students witnessed it. Families are grieving. The death penalty is most certainly on the table here, but Judge Graf refused to let the circus dictate his courtroom. He reminded the state and the defense that dignity and fairness still matter, even when the cameras are rolling. So even when the nation is screaming for blood, and let's be honest, all of this is very hard to swallow with all the emotions that are going on. But the judge, that's not just good judging, that's good statesmanship. Imagine if Congress had the same backbone. Imagine if the president said, before we canonize or condemn, let's let the evidence speak. Now, you might fall out of your chair because of everything we've been witnessing, but because what we get instead is politicians pretending to be prosecutors or late night hosts pretending to be prophets, and a justice system that feels like a prop sometimes in America, we end up in this never-ending culture war. Now, meanwhile, in Utah, our rookie judge here is giving a masterclass on how power should sound. He was calm, steady, transparent. I thought it was so refreshing to see somebody speak the way that he did. And that's exactly why it cuts through the noise. Because sometimes being the way that this judge is brings out the best in what we see in the judicial system and in our government. And let's talk about courage, because it's easy for a president with Secret Service behind him to pound the table and demand the death penalty. It's easy for a late night comedian to score cheap laughs at someone else's tragedy. It's part of our culture. It's okay, right? But the hard part is saying what Graf said. I will not put my finger on the scale of justice. And the way he spoke, that's courage. That's conviction. And in a twisted way, that's what makes him sound more presidential than the president himself. So here's the bigger question. Why do we let people like Graf stop at the bench? Why do we, let the principled stay in courtrooms or in their positions while the corrupt end up getting promoted to Capitol Hill? Why do we reward politicians who play to the cameras instead of leaders who play it straight, like this judge? Now, it's like watching the Titanic sink while the captain is selling iceberg NFTs on TikTok. You know the ship's going down, but you can't look away from the spectacle anyway. So, I don't know. But I think this is why we should all care about this, though, because if we do keep rewarding chaos over clarity, if we keep electing leaders who can't match the composure of a county judge, then sooner or later we won't lose faith. We won't just lose faith in politicians, although I think probably a lot of us already have. We'll lose faith in the justice system itself. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? A judge in Provo isn't going to fix Washington. And you're right about that. But what he represents, I feel that's bigger. He represents the leaders we deserve, but we actually never get. The ones who remember that victims deserve dignity and defendants have rights. The ones who speak less but mean more, right? The one who believes the Constitution is a duty, not a prop. And here's the hope every time someone like Judge Graf speaks with the type of clarity that he does. It chips away at cynicism. It reminds you that you're not crazy for wanting better. You're not crazy for wanting better. It reminds you that impartiality isn't extinct. It's just rare. And maybe if enough people start demanding it, it won't be rare forever. So the question is this really, right? Or the question isn't really, why can't this guy be president? The question is, why do we keep electing people who sound less presidential than a judge with 56 days on the job? And that's what should keep all of us up at night. Because if a rookie judge can sound like a statesman in the middle of America's loudest trial, what excuse do people in Washington have? All right, guys, thank you so much for watching me here on The Baseline. Leave your comment in the section below. Do I have this all right? Do I have it all wrong? I value your guys' opinion, and I read and reply to all the comments. So I look forward to hearing from you guys, and cheers, everybody.